Hi.
Hi.
I'm Ken,
I'm Jen.
and you are watching the Revolution Approved podcast here at Holistic Revolution World Headquarters in Wyandotte, Michigan. This is episode number 8.
8 is great.
Yes, and before we get started, since I always forget, and I just reminded myself, if you would please like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be fantastic of you. We would really appreciate that.
If you are returning, welcome back. And if you are new, welcome.
Welcome, yes.
To our thing.
Our podcast, yes, that's what this is called, I believe. So, today we are talking about, what are we talking about today, Jen? Because you had some pressing things that you wanted to talk about last week while you were in bed with the flu all week.
Oh, I did have the flu. It was horrible.
And that's why we did not do a podcast last week, because someone was sick
Yes.
the whole week, but we're back now.
My 6-year-old Petri dish gave it to me. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now my immune system is that much better. So
Yes, it was brutal though. It was brutal, and you hung
was
in there and you got over it, and there was one man who stayed by your side and nursed you back to health. And I
my
was
6-year-old
I was
Petri dish.
happy to do that. I was happy to do that. So, anyways, what are we talking about today?
Today, I think maybe we should talk a little bit about self-worth and what defines you.
Are you asking me?
No, I think that's the topic.
Oh, okay, good. Because this is a topic that is. This is one of those ones like core values that we talked about previously, like negativity, any of these more esoteric, philosophical topics, that get your shoulders moving, that can be hard for people to pin down. I mean, and not a lot of people spend a lot of time on this kind of thing. I think,
No, I think
they run into problems with it.
Yeah, I think it definitely gets kind of brushed to the back burner, maybe a little too often. But I think this is a very important topic. It is certainly very important to me, and I think it should be very important to you. So let's discuss. First and foremost, what defines you as a person? Because we are in a gym, and it's a gym setting, and I think a lot of people think it defines them is weight. Does your number define you? I am here to say no. It does not define you. How many times have you introduced yourself, say in a job interview maybe? Maybe you're being interviewed and the interviewer says, "Hi, Ken, how are you? Why don't you tell me about yourself? How much do you weigh?"
And I say, yes, I'm Ken, and I weigh 235 pounds. You're right. I think that this is, when we're speaking of physical things in a gym, I think that you're right. And the overwhelming number of clientele that we have that are female, the female species is bombarded with propaganda from the industry, nutritionally and training-wise,
Sure.
and Hollywood and whatever else, the media, the media industrial complex bombards them with weight-related or number-related things on a daily basis.
And I don't think it's just females, but I think
No, I would agree.
they're more vocal about it. I think men are just as
For sure.
worried about it.
Absolutely. I mean, you think you could go with a guy, an ease. Now, this might sound silly in comparison to weight, but an easy guy's thing would be like, how big is your arm? How much can you bench press?
Oh yeah,
How much you bench, bro?
how much can you bench, bro?
That
doesn't define you.
No, it doesn't. It does not, because there's plenty of guys who can bench press a lot of weight who maybe don't have some things going for them, and there's plenty of guys who can't bench press anything at all who have lots of stuff going for them. So
Yes, and that being said, it's the exact same thing with your self-worth. So if you are hung up on, if I could just lose this 20 pounds, or so-and-so only weighs X amount, or if I could just weigh X amount, or when I was in high school, I only weighed X amount. Who cares, right? So I personally do not walk through life telling people how much I weigh. I don't care how much I weigh, but I don't walk around telling people. And I think it's kind of bizarre that we tell ourselves these things. And it's always in a negative context, right? Oh, I weigh so much. Oh, if I could just lose this much. Oh, if I only weighed this much. But how does this affect your self-worth? Why is this affecting your self-worth? You know, I like to think that, you know, maybe you can define yourself in a little bit better way. Maybe I think you have a lot more going for you. Who cares how much you weigh? Who cares what size clothes you wear? That is not what defines you as a person. And I think this needs to be addressed because I think a lot of people have this problem, and I think a lot of people struggle with their own personal self-worth, especially in this day and age.
Yes, they are. The scale is the proverbial albatross around their neck, right? They are carrying it. They are attached to the scale at the leg, and they are dragging it behind them throughout their entire day.
Yeah.
And now, to caveat this for a second, because we get a lot of heat from people who say, okay, well, Ken, you're telling people not to count calories, you're telling people not to matter about their weight, what the hell, blah, 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 blah. You tell people to do a lot of things that the industry tells people to do. We're not saying don't care about your weight or don't care about your health if you have an issue with that. So
No.
we're not sitting here and saying, because I think we got to make that point clear, we're not sitting here and saying, hey, it's okay to weigh 450 pounds.
No.
We're not saying that. We're saying the overwhelming preponderance of what we see on a daily basis, we have clients, they make breakthroughs, they lose 10 pounds, they lose 4% body fat, they lose whatever, and they go, yeah, that's great, but
Yeah.
I still don't weigh 145. I still don't, whatever magical number
Yeah.
they have in their head, it's never good enough. And even though I will tell you on record, without mentioning people, of course, that the worst body fat reading we've ever had in this gym in the 3 years that we've been here has been from a girl who weighed 120 pounds.
Interesting.
Yes, 24% body fat, and she weighed 120 pounds. So for all you scale heads out there who go, oh, if I only weighed 120, but this comes back to our argument,
Yeah.
what kind of 120?
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing is you got to stop letting the scale be your anchor, right? It's holding you back. It's holding you down. You're going through your days being bogged down by this superficial number that doesn't define you anyways. So regardless of how much you weigh, if you have a good heart, or you're a caring person, or you're a nurturing mother, or you are, you know, you like to help people, or you like to go out of your way and do nice things, and you like to, whatever you like to do, if this is being bogged down by the fact that there's a specific number hanging over your head, why are you letting that happen? So maybe we should take a step back and start looking at, you know, what defines you? What is your self-worth? And I think that that's a very, it's almost a sad topic for me because I don't understand why so many people are walking around thinking that they're horrible people because they have an extra 20 pounds on them. Or, you know, the scale doesn't reflect all the work that you put in the gym. Who cares? Who cares what, you know, your metaphysical space being taken up on this earth, right, in relation to gravity? Who gives a crap? You're here on this earth for a reason, right? If you want to get a little bit more woo-woo about it. We're here on this earth for a reason, okay? You're here to do something great. You're here for a reason. You are here to take up space. Why are you trying to shrink down and take up less space, right? I think you are here. Let everybody realize this is my space.
So you're saying that, so to kind of piggyback on what you're saying for a second, you don't think, or it troubles you when you see people say, well, I weigh X, but X isn't Y.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I weigh 165, but and I've come a long way, but I'm here to tell you 165 isn't 150. Like there's and this is one thing that I've talked
It's magical thinking again.
Yes, this is one thing that I've talked about extensively with clientele in here in the past, is that the numbers as magical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So if something were to happen, if I was only at 150, right? So applying almost seemingly magical properties to the body weight of 150, things would be different.
Yeah.
People would treat me different. Now we know that that's not true because again, no one knows what you weigh or could accurately guess this, unless they work for Cedar Point and they play that stupid game where you get on the scale and you gotta guess what you weigh and what your birthday is.
Hey, guess what? Nobody's gonna give you a teddy bear.
No one's gonna give you a teddy bear here. You're absolutely right. So with that being said, I think that you're right. Too much stock is put into this thing, and it could not just be weight. I mean, you're hammering in on weight here, but it could be, how fast you are in something, how much you can lift.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The comparison to other people.
Yes.
And the minimizing of yourself.
Yes, that's a very good distinction. We're not just discussing weight.
Yeah,
We're
in
talking
comparison to other people. Would be bad. I used to do this all the time. I would, I got my deadlift up to something that was very, very respectable, but everybody that I looked up to was higher than me, right? Because you don't look at people that are lower than you look at people that are higher than you. But in doing that, I kind of buzzkilled myself because I looked at myself and I said, okay, well, if I have a 600-pound deadlift, I'm reading articles from guys who have 800 and 850-pound deadlifts. I'm a scrub compared to these guys. And then one day I'm standing around and my dad had to tell me, my dad was like, you idiot, what's wrong with you? That's 3 times your body weight, okay? Your average guy can't pick 225 up off the floor and you just deadlifted 600 in a competition and you're bummed about it. Because my head wasn't in the right space because I was busy comparing myself to people
And again, regardless of all these things, in the context of self-worth, even the fact that you could you could lift 3 times your body weight, right? Still doesn't define you. Sure. It doesn't mean you're a good person, you're a bad person, you're selfish, you're giving, you're whatever. So again, we need to kind of take a step back from all of these things. And I know it's hard, especially in a gym setting, to take a step back from the numbers because it's a number game all day long. But if you can take a step back and say, I can do all of these things, but they do not define me. What defines me is blah, right? It's X, it's Y, it's Z, it's whatever. And I think if people could start maybe separating these things and looking at what is more important overarchingly, we can maybe start to find like a little bit more joy in our everyday life doing the things that we really love to do. Because at the end of the day, regardless of if it's an extra, 50 pounds on the deadlift, or I got a 100-pound PR on my squat, or 20 pounds on the scale, that's not going to change who you are on the inside anyways.
Sure, and I can tell you.
So if you're unhappy now, you're probably going to be unhappy then. I hate to break it to you.
And I can tell you from personal experience, having trained some people, that some of the best looking and best weighed and competitive and people who compete and all this other crap, people are some of the most miserable that you'd want to meet. You wouldn't, positive attributes you would not attribute to these people, okay? Like at least the ones that you're talking about. And I think that this also turns training a joyous activity into kind of like a slave ship
Yeah.
mentality, like where it's, oh, I gotta go again. It's this hamster wheel rat race thing of where
Yeah.
I continue to put in this work, and because I'm not looking at things, maybe not in the right right or wrong, maybe isn't the right word, but I'm not looking at things through a proper perspective or proper lens. It starts to become like my efforts are futile, and this is why people leave training.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see any results. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you went from, but it results in what way?
Yeah. Everybody's chasing this almost this internal joy, right? Well, if I can just lose weight, I'll be happy. If I can just lift X amount of weight, I'll be happy. If I could just run X fast, I'll be happy. If I could just win whatever, right? If I win this, I'll be winning at life and I'll be happy. Well, unfortunately, we're here to tell you that that's not going to happen. Your joy comes from within, and that's where your self-worth comes from. If you can find that in yourself and your joy within yourself and what you really have going for you in the overarching context of life, right?
Sure.
You are going to be much better off, and not only that, you will probably get to your goals
Sure.
quicker.
Sure, we've had-
because now you're not bogged down and being anchored down by whatever it is that you're holding on to. As soon as you release that, you're going to realize how quickly you bubble to the surface.
Sure.
And
'Cause
it's
those
going to
things-
be like, oh, here I am.
Yeah, because those things don't hold power over you anymore.
Right.
So it's like when a client here
Right.
finally breaks free of the counting. It's like a new person.
Yes,
It's like a
yes,
new person.
counting calories
Yeah,
is what
it's
we're
like a new person emerges because they're not handcuffed to their phone.
Yes.
And they go, oh, well, you know what? I never noticed this because I was too busy with my face buried in my phone all day
Yes.
long.
Yeah.
Putting in, 13 almonds is 74 calories and and all that
Yeah.
other nonsensical crap. Or, you know what? When I quit weighing myself, I started to notice that, oh yeah, even though the scale didn't maybe move in the direction that I thought it was going to, my clothes fit different.
Yeah.
So their perspective changes. Because we've had tons of people in here, Jen, where regardless of the fact they went from zero working out, literally at zero, to 4 days a week
Yeah.
for 45 minutes, they're doing things they've never done before, deadlifting, pushing sleds, carrying heavy dumbbells, so on and so forth. Changed around their eating habits, drinking more water, more sleep. I mean, you name all the positive attributes.
Yeah.
They built this mountain of positive behaviors, but then on the other side, there's, yeah, but you know what? I still haven't lost any weight.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, again, ignore the mountain of evidence that you've made
Yeah.
positive changes in your life, which over the long haul, because as the fitness industry will show you, anybody can lose weight in 30 days.
Yeah.
We got every freaking gym around here does some stupid ass bullshit challenge, 6-week, 12-week, 90-day bikini body blah. Garbage. What's
Yeah.
gonna happen on the 31st day? What's gonna happen on the 91st day? What's gonna happen 2 years from now?
Yeah.
Right? So anybody can get a sweet hand every once in a while. But
Yeah.
what are the habits that are going to keep propelling you forward to where you're healthy over the long haul is what I would say.
Yeah, if you look at, you can ask if you have children, you can ask children, maybe you have a niece or a nephew or, maybe the kid down the street. I don't know. Kids don't.
Oh, hey, kid.
Kids don't usually lie or don't usually blow smoke up your ass for their own gain. So ask a kid, hey, maybe don't ask them, hey, do I look fat in these jeans? Because a kid doesn't know, he doesn't care, right? But if I ask my kids, like, hey, do you think I'm a good person, or do you think I need to lose 20 pounds or something? I mean, first of all, they're gonna look at me like I'm nuts. But secondly, my kids are going to tell me how much they love me and they think I'm the most beautiful person in the world because I'm their mother. And those are the self-worth things that I think a lot of us kind of lose track of because we live in America and this
Yeah.
is a society of who does what and the Joneses and everybody's got to try and be better. But I'm kind of sitting here going, well, why can't we all be great, right? Why do you have to try and be better than me because your self-worth is different than mine? You know, maybe you have a really fulfilling job that gives you a lot of joy. Why aren't you allowing yourself to feel that joy? You've worked really hard for that, you know? You go to the gym every day and you work really hard for that. Why isn't that bringing you any joy? You have kids that love you. You have, you know, maybe you have really healthy kids. Maybe you have a husband who loves you. Maybe you have, you know, maybe you have the house of your dreams. You know, you love this house. You bought it for a reason. It was the house of your dreams. And then, you know, the shiny wore off after a year, and now all of a sudden you find yourself comparing your house to other people, and well, if we just had this or if we just had that, well, why are you letting your joy be washed away based off of somebody else? Because their joy is going to be different. You know, they don't have any more joy than you do.
Sure.
Right? They don't have anything better than you do. So why are you kind of looking outward and saying, well, if I had that, or if I had this, or if I lost weight, or if I
only had a flat stomach.
Right?
Yeah,
If this happened, I can be happy. Well, why can't you be happy without that? Right? And maybe that's a question that everybody needs to kind of sit back and kind of question, you know? I mean, there's so many things, and it's so hard for me because I look around and I think we live in the most abundant society in the world. And we're the unhappiest society that there is.
Sure.
Why are Americans so miserable? There's no reason for it. We have everything we could possibly dream of at our fingertips.
Well, but you go back a little bit towards of this goes back to our conversation from the last podcast about negativity and gratefulness, and so I think we have to.
Yes.
So that we have to take a step back and we have to say, okay, well, like we have running water. Like we're bougie in here. We got a filtered water. We got the Berkey, man.
Yeah, you don't even have to drink out of fountain.
Out of fountains. Look how hooked up we are, right? So I think that when you take these steps back, but it's very easy, like you mentioned earlier, to get on the hamster wheel, the rat race. The 40-hour work week turned into the 50 is now the 60-hour work week.
Yep.
Go. Everybody looking at what everyone else has. Social media has made it to where, you know, if taking trips is your thing, then there's no shortage of social media people that you went to high school with that are they're only showing you the party. They're not gonna tell you how they paid for it, which is on a credit card and with a 24% interest rate, but that's not the point.
Yeah,
You're just gonna look and go,
Yeah.
see, the Smiths get to go to Disney World every year.
Look,
Or
we're living in a society of a filter, right?
Exactly,
You're comparing yourself against a filter.
Yes, something that's not,
It's
a
not
construct that's not real, right? So
how many people take a selfie, right? Click. And then they go through and they filter it to death to where you don't even look like yourself anymore. And then they post it and they go, see, look how sweet I am. Well, but that's not you, girl. That's not you.
Sure.
That's a filter and a photoshopped copy of a copy of a copy of you.
Sure.
But, you know, and I'm here to say, and maybe this is just me, and maybe I'm just, I don't know, out of touch maybe, or maybe I'm just super in touch, but I'm here to say, you don't need that filter. You are you for a reason. You are you because you're meant to be you. If you were meant to be her, you'd be her. If you were meant to be married to this guy, you'd be married to this guy. But I am. So
And how lucky are you? That's right. Yeah. So, but no, you're right. And the fitness industry, again, since we're in the vein of the gym, the industry, again, as it has been shown by documentaries like Bigger, Faster, Stronger, which I believe is on Netflix if you want to check it out, the photoshopping on these covers is out of control.
Yeah.
The drug use by professionals that you look up to is out of control. And these are things that are not known to you.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that, then you're chasing a false paradigm.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, yeah, nutrition labels are up to 25% inaccurate. Yeah, these calorie counters have been shown to be up to 30% inaccurate. Okay, you're chasing a false number. And when
Yeah.
the number doesn't get to where you want it to, now you're left going, well, I don't understand. I'm doing
Yeah.
everything. I bought the fart powder just like the girl that won the Olympia told me to.
Yeah.
I take all these bullshit pills just like the girl who won the Arnold told me to.
Yeah.
How come I don't look like her? I used to laugh, my dad used to laugh his ass off at me because I'd be like, well, there's no way these guys train harder than me. How do they look so different than I do?
Yeah.
And my dad would just laugh and be like, well, they're on the gas they got a needle in their ass out the wazoo. So that's why. Wake up, bro. And then once I
Yeah.
realized that, I went, oh, okay, I gotta focus on being the best that I can be instead of
Right.
chasing to look like so-and-so
Yeah.
because I don't know what so-and-so is doing,
Right.
right? So it goes back to a lot. I think this in 2019 is huge because I'd like to think that fitness and being active is more popular than ever. I'd like to think that strength training, at least from what I've seen recently, is more popular than ever with women.
Yeah.
But now with that comes all this other stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know why women are so much quicker to compare and to feel bad about themselves. I wish it wasn't that way. I'm not exactly sure why we do that. I wish we didn't. But if you could take a step back for 1 second and realize that if you're chasing your own, I don't want to keep using the word joy, but if you're chasing your happiness and you think your happiness is going to come in the form of a box, or it's going to come in the form of a PR, or it's going to come through a scale, that's not your happiness, okay? That might give you some happiness in the moment, but it's going to fade because it's not true, right? It's the whole adage of if I just had something to look forward to, right? If we had a vacation, I would be so happy we would have something to look forward to. Well, you know what? When you get home from that vacation and it's over, what happened to that happiness?
And then
Do you still have it?
Yeah, and then the bill comes.
Okay.
And then
That's
you're
a
not,
different story.
and then you're not happy
But-
anymore.
That's a different story. But I'm just saying in the context of when you get home from that vacation, are you now fulfilled? Or do you now maybe feel empty because that false fulfillment is gone? So it's kind of the same thing we see it a lot with food. Well, if I could just have that chocolate cake. Oh, that chocolate cake, it would just change everything for me. Well, once you eat it, right? You eat it and you feel amazing, right? It's good. You like it. And then you eat it and it's gone and you immediately feel what? You feel like crap. And it's not because you personally feel like crap, like, oh, my stomach, right? But you've lost that little tiny carrot, right? And I don't mean carrot as in carrot. I mean, like you dangle the carrot, right? The carrot of happiness. It's gone. Okay, well, what can bring you joy now? Well, unfortunately in America and around the world, but mostly in America, most people keep chasing that as far as food because that happiness, well, that chocolate cake made me feel real good, so I'm gonna go and eat more chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And then when the happiness fades, what do? They go and get another slice because we're addicted to wanting that happiness, and unfortunately, everybody is so out of touch with their own self-worth and their own internal happiness that they're looking for something else to give it to them. I'm here to tell you, you're not gonna get it anywhere. You can't buy it in a store, you can't read about it in a book, you can't find it on the internet, and you can't travel to it in some far-off destination. There is no happiness out there for you. Do you know why? Because it's in here. And you have to find it in here and in your gut and in your head. And until you do that personally for yourself, you're always going to be chasing it.
And that is the hardest part, because you see people who make like I said earlier, who make tremendous strides, and it's almost like they blow the whole entire thing out of the wazoo, and they dismiss
Yeah.
10 positive things to look at one.
Yeah. One negative.
And then maybe that negative is
And
not
maybe
even
it's
that
not
negative.
even a negative.
Exactly, but it's viewed through the lens of, well, if it was just this way.
Yeah.
And then you see people who get to that, that goal that they had, and then once they get there, they go, well, what now? That leads us
Yep.
back to our discussion on these challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 days, but day 31, okay.
Yeah.
Now what happens? Or, oh, I have to get a new, stress concerns. I got to get a new job. I got to do this with my house. I got to go over here, go over there.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, the 30-day thing goes out the window.
Yeah.
Right? So, the very, very, very tough to get down.
Look, it's not going to be easy. It's not an easy thing, and if it was, everybody would be happy, but let's face it, nobody's happy. So it's obviously not that easy to do. But if you can do it through, maybe, I don't want to say meditation, because even meditation is it's kind of the same false happiness carrot, right? Well, if I just meditate, I'll find my happiness. Well, you won't, okay? You have to look inside, and you have to do a little bit of soul searching, and you have to figure it out. And if that means, getting off of social media for a little bit, or maybe that means disconnecting from, maybe you have like negative family members or negative coworkers, or, maybe maybe even your spouse is maybe a little bit negative, okay? So if you can just disconnect from that for a little bit and kind of turn off and look inside and say, you know what, when I was 18 and I was fresh out of school and the world was at my feet, what did I really enjoy doing? Not what I want to be when I grow up, right? Because that's all false. That's all garbage, in my opinion. That is what you've been, we'll get into that some other time. Anyways, if you look at like what truly, truly, truly gives you happiness, and I mean as far as, your hobbies, or what could you dive into and hours would go by and you wouldn't realize that time had gone by, or you haven't eaten, or you haven't answered your phone, or oh my God, I never even turned the TV on. I was so consumed with
What would make you feel?
this.
What would make you feel good?
What is the one thing that you're really super passionate about, and it's all consuming to you? You could read about it for hours. You could do it for hours. You could envelop yourself in this one thing, right, for life, and you just feel so much joy doing it. You get so much joy out of it. You're so fulfilled. If you can take a step back and you can think about these things, you can start to realize where your true joy comes from. And if you know where it comes from, you can tap into that daily. And if you can, you're well on your way. I don't think anything outside of that is going to bring you happiness, personally.
Wow.
Is that deep? Was that too deep?
No, that was good. That was good. I liked it. I was digging it. I think you make a lot of good points, and I think this is a message that, even though it's not sexy per se,
Jen's passion rant.
yeah, needs to be spoken about, because again, there's a lot of women and men who are shortchanging themselves, who are suffering, who have low self-efficacy, low self-esteem.
Absolutely.
For reasons that are, I don't want to say trivial, but they're not put in their proper, proper perspective.
Look,
And I
when
think-
you're
and
in
that kills-
when you're in high school and you have a counselor come to you and say, well, what do you want to do with your life? Well, I'm really passionate about, say, I don't know, painting. I really like to paint. Well, you're gonna have your parents probably going, That's not a real job. You got to get a real job. So then you
If
go
you
to
say training, they'll say that.
so you go to school, right? And now you have this counselor. Maybe you have some kind of career counselor or something come to you and go, okay, well, what kind of classes are we going to take in college? What do you want to do with your life? Well, I don't know. I really like to paint. What can I do with that? Most likely, you're going to have somebody go, you never make money doing that. You can never do that. Right? And it gets in your head and you're like, well, crap. Okay, well, what can I do? And then you go and you take some test that through some algorithm is going to tell you that you need to be a banker. Okay? And now you go through school and you go through all this stuff and you get this job and you're making all the money and now you have the nice car and the nice house and the nice devices and all this stuff, and you find out 20 years later, I'm just not happy. I'm just not fulfilled. And you don't know why. You did everything you needed to do. You checked all the boxes.
You bought the program.
You're right. You did all the stuff that you needed to do, and maybe you look back on it and you go, man, you know what? I don't paint anymore. That used to make me really happy. Well, maybe that person never meant to be a freaking banker in the first place, but society and assholes around them who bought in, right, said, you need to follow this path, when really, that was never your path to begin with. Your path was over there, and you were supposed to go over there. And you know what? And maybe your joy has been knocking on the damn door over here, but you're not there to open that damn door because you're behind the banker door. Well, no wonder you're not happy, banker. Your joy is knocking on the painting door, right? So we all need to kind of look inside and find out which door our joy is knocking on. I'm here to tell you, it's not the new car. It's not the new phone. It's not the PR in the gym. It's not the new shoes that she has and I don't. It's not the
trips and the house
yeah,
and the bullshit.
It's not on some, fantastic European vacation over here that they get to go on. Why can't I go on that? I'm here to tell you, your joy's not knocking on that door either.
You're definitely right. And if you have any issues with this rant that Jen just went on, send your comments to Jennifer@theholisticrevolution.com. I'm sure you'll be happy. You'll be happy to read them. So in closing, this has been the longest podcast I think we've done to date. You were very excited about this.
Well, you know what? It's a very passionate thing for me because I have just a really hard time with it, and I get really, I guess, upset, for lack of a better word, when I hear everybody around me and in society complaining about things and wishing they had this and wishing they had that, and I wish things were different. Well, why are you wishing?
You're saying make it happen.
You have one go, right? Why? Why are you settling? We live in the most abundant country in the world. You have no reason. Whoa, money is a reason? No, it's not. Okay? No, it's not. Go and... Again, it upsets me. I'm sorry that there's so many people out there that are unhappy that can't find their joy. I wish you could, and you can. If you can shut off the noise for 2 minutes and listen to yourself. Again, I get kind of go the internal route of listen to yourself and find out what yourself is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and that is, not to summarize, not worrying or trivializing about a few pounds here or there, not trivializing about how fast you run, not trivializing about how much weight you can lift, not trivializing about who's got the newest overpriced gym bag or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about
your joy won't fit in that
yes,
gym bag.
it's about from our perspective, it's about putting your best foot forward, trying as much as you can every day, and being the best person that you can be every day. And then eventually the right things will fall into place.
Absolutely.
Okay, so are you good? Or you want to keep going?
No, it's fine.
Okay, all right. I'm Ken.
I'm Jen.
She's very passionate.
He's not as passionate.
I'm not, that's not true. But see, I get the hate mail and say, Ken interrupts Jen all the time. This is bullshit. He never lets her talk. So here, I let you talk for almost an entire time. So now you can't say that. We will be back next week, barring flus and illnesses and
Yeah.
other things. We're on the mend. We're back.
Talk
Ready-
to us, let us know,
Yeah.
leave us a comment.
Like and subscribe, and we will see you with another podcast next week.
Bye.